In this episode, you'll discover why men who never play become shells of themselves and how joy is a spiritual practice you may be neglecting. Welcome to Energy Alignment for Entrepreneurs, the podcast helping entrepreneurs be free from anxiety, stress, and tension through balancing emotions and consciousness expansion. Here are three things we're going to look at together today. Number one, why taking life too seriously is killing your creativity and vitality. Number two, how play, not as a distraction, but as presence, recharges your spirit. And number three, the integration, holding intensity and lightness at the same time. All right. I really see the power in the bigger picture here to be that balance of look at trees. I use this often, but they bend and they don't break. So if we bring that to point number one, why taking life too seriously is killing your creativity and vitality. If there isn't play, then you are missing the bend. All right. And then therefore you're going to snap, you're going to tweak, you're going to be too serious, too stressed. You're going to get gray hair sooner, and you'll be disconnected from God, most importantly, like at your detriment. That's what happens when you are not balanced in life. So, taking life seriously is extraordinarily important, but too seriously, and you cut yourself off from that inner child, that creativity, that vitality, that spontaneity, that playfulness, that real cornerstone essence, the root to joy, is residing within all of which I've just listed. Being open to play. So it's like this is intricate though, because all simultaneously, too much of anything and you have a problem. So the nature of this, I wouldn't call it a evolution. It's rather sort of a revelation in relationship to the things which you have in your power, right? And your attitude is it's basically the biggest thing in your life that determines everything in the quality of what you reap. Because when you sow with a intention, you really extrapolate yourself and you put yourself in other people's shoes, one of the commandments. You do that as much as you possibly can. Through that process, you feel a lot of pain because you feel for others and you truly care. You take the attention, right? Energy goes where attention flows. Your energy creates your life. Abracadabra means I create as I speak. The world is not as it is. The world is as you are. The tongue is dangerous. The heart is revealing. And when you take all of these universal truths and you begin to kind of write them within your blood and bones, I mean, you begin to see how important it is to be able to play with adjusting, being dynamic, being ever changing. Standing on nothing is the strongest place one could ever stand. And standing on nothing is really okay. It doesn't sound practical whatsoever. So let's make this a little practical. Like in the real world, if you play too much, then you don't get anything, right? And then sure, that's not too good either. But if you take life too seriously, then you die at 25 and you're not buried till 75 because you cut yourself off from a super vital it's literally your vitality. Your life source has a relationship to the inner child. Now, if we get to the root, the core root of all of this, there are different names for the pathway to revelation, but it's always God. It's always God. And it's you realizing, yeah, you must decrease so he can increase. And that means that you die to yourself. Your life isn't important. What's important is what can be done through you. See, and you can do anything which is alignment with what God needs you to do. It's only when you fight against the current of the everyday creators subsets, that's when you get stuck. That's when Satan gets you. I was speaking with my friend Dan. We're reading together at Starbucks, and he tells me a story about, I think it's from C.S. Lewis. But the story was essentially like, all right, you have God's children on one side, and then you have like people who are lost on the other side. And then you have some people in the middle on the fence. And later, after God took his children and Satan took his, then, right, Satan came back and he talked to the guy on the fence, and the guy on the fence is like, I'm not really decided yet. And Satan goes, yeah, that's fine. I own the fence. And what that is really speaking to is the trouble of drifting in life and not making a stand, a commitment, a devotion to what, right? Our first point is why taking life too seriously is killing your creativity and vitality. But the question really is, what is the value, or why even speak of creativity and vitality, right? So that's like the tier two question. And well, what are you when you are just a mechanical, repetitive copycat of someone else? Then you aren't much, quite frankly. So to be vital and creative means that you let go of comparison, right? The only measure is spirit. You don't measure material this and that, jealousy, envy, greed, lust, all of these shallow desires. You are not ruled by those because you see what living from that worldview creates in a internal and external reality. In other words, you can reflect, you can feel, you can look at your life, your relationships. What are you when you do ABC? Practically reflect. Like 15 minutes after I do X, how do I feel? 1 hour after I do X, how do I feel? Etc., etc., etc. You can reflect consciously, but I love devotion as a form of change. So again, right, the point is why taking life too seriously is killing your creativity and vitality, but you can't just stop at the that question, right? It's just to say, like, hey, if you see the value, the power in you being alive and vital and creative and in tune and in rhythm and guided and supported, you truly come to that surrendering place of, yes, faith. My life doesn't matter. If I happen to get wealthy, because I align with the natural order of the universe, then that wealth is for service of the natural order of the universe. The wealth wasn't something I created, although I did this and I did that and I did this and I did that. All of the things which I've done have been supported by what is greater than, right? God and I are one, and yet God is greater than I. So the quality of what I reap or what you reap, you see, what I'm saying here, when I say I mean you as well. It's like we are one, and yet there is duality. So the question is, how can you adopt the level, the vibration, the frequency, the sight that lives from a place of the real truth being that you and I are the same, all while simultaneously playing in duality, right? History, his story. We're writing his story. We are all him. Can you let go of the lower so that he moves through you? That's what this is about. The speaker, me, Justin, Matthew, Egliskis, is not special. I am just doing my best to be who I am, right? So, you, the real thing that many philosophies speak of is knowing thyself. What does it mean to know thyself? It really, and I'll get to point number two in a moment, but knowing thyself is like this big blossoming of reflecting upon when you are not connected to who you truly are holistic. Now, point number two, how play, not as distraction, but as presence, recharges your spirit. So, the spirit is the place in which we operate through to create abundance and love and power and healing and all of the things which this world can be filled with. Holy. Ha- It's starting to say, I'm going to be honest about when I'm running, when I'm numbing. Be honest about when I'm distracting and when I'm just being a coward, right? When I'm doing these things. Yet, do not judge thyself. They are necessary. You have to feel the lower to realize what it is and then move through it. And play is a form of first and foremost being courageous. Because when you're stuck in shame and guilt and greed and all of that, the first act is always to be courageous enough to admit this isn't who I am. That state is not the homeostasis in which I would like to build my life through. You have that choice to notice what your attitude is creating, how you are feeling. You have that power, and you always will. So, instead of distracting yourself from that and entertaining victim and again, it's okay to feel. It's okay to notice the victim. I'm not there's no judgment here whatsoever. When I use the words lower, it's like I'll repeat it. It's necessary to be like that for a period of time in your life. It's okay. But I know, it's obvious that isn't all there is. Okay? There's more for you. And the thing is there that you have the duty to let happen. It's not like you need to make it all happen. It's not like you need to force it whatsoever. You need to learn how to let that power come to you. And that happens, right? I use certain words: devotion, prayer, surrender, not discipline as in force, but discipline as in devotion, right? You see that when you do XYZ, it does these amazing things for you. So consistency compounds and flow, it emphasizes. The current just grows. So when you are not distracted, your presence is actually what recharges your spirit. So when you play, you do something which it may not like be some fancy, huge, glorious, grand idea of, wow, everyone would admire me for doing this. For example, like playing with your dog, petting your dog, doing basic things of the mundane, right? So what? But when you play, when you're loose, when you're humorous, when you can crack a joke, when people make a joke and you can actually join them in laughing at the joke, even if it's in relationship to you. And of course, there are lines where you draw boundaries and stand up for yourself. I'm not saying uh, never stand up for yourself. There's nuance here. But ultimately, it's this commitment to, hey, I'm going to be dynamic. I'm not going to stay in one forceful perspective or worldview. I'm not going to hold on to grudges. I'm going to do my best to surrender and let go and trust that what is in my life is as it's meant to be, and that I am who I'm meant to be, and that I will continuously change in alignment with who you need me to be, right? The bigger power. And it's like, you don't need to believe in this. All you need to do is live in a way where you pay attention to how you feel after you do what you do right here, right now, and it'll be self evident, right? This isn't a message of me trying to convince you, Jack, fuck. I have nothing to convince you of. I have nothing. This is a message, a rather invitation to say you're powerful, and truly it's just a reminder. All I'm doing is reminding you of things that are already deep within your blood and bones. Like this stuff, it's not foreign. And when you resonate with it, you don't need to like logically understand why you resonate with it. Just let it be there because it's there. And this is really how life works, where what presence does, the recharging of your spirit, the spirit catches on to the higher game of material reality. We're not just here for no reason, for like greed and money and like, I know it gets like that. If you live just naturally and you're raised naturally, you find yourself stuck in these places which are like dark and treacherous. And what do you do? Well, that's where that internal relationship with thyself, with God, with Christ, where you really just understand that there's something more for you. No matter what life is showing you practically, like there's two sides to the coin here. The everyday ruler can't be too wrong, but that doesn't mean that everything right in front of you right now is like the end story. Change is constant. So somehow, some way, you have to like accept and work. And like, if yes, then what? If no, then what? Practical, face what's actual, be honest. Don't like get all fantastical in your mental thinking and illusions and fantasies and all of that. But all simultaneously, dream. You need to dream. You need to like just extend the vision to a point where when you talk about it to most people, they're flabbergasted. Like, are you insane that you think you are, or you can be a part of that, or you can build that, or you can do that? Like, that's the type of energy you want to create within like you and the average Joe. Okay, so let me digress there. But the point is, presence turns you into what you have always been meant to be. And a lot of people, unfortunately, or rather, just this is the nature of life, there are many people who are not operating fully as they're meant to be. And hey, I don't know if anyone truly is, but all I can say is I'm doing my absolute best. And I that's why I'm here speaking in this way, because I mean, what else am I going to do? So, point number three, the integration, holding intensity and lightness at the same time. I think, not to like self embezzle myself, but what I previously just said was a decent example of that, where it's like, yeah, this is who I am. This is what I care about. This is why I'm here on earth to share what I'm sharing right now. Of course, I'll do other things too, but this is part of it. And there's also that lightness, though. Like, what else am I supposed to do? I mean, hey, yeah, yeah, I'll work out, I'll do other things, but that's all part of this, right? So the beautiful part about life is you begin to see like, okay, why do the small things matter? What's the big thing, right? And for me, for a lot of people, you'll say it in different ways in different periods of your life, but it's always this fundamental truth if you're living your best life, and that is that God is first. God is first. And then some people say Christ is first. And if you don't say you believe in Christ, right? And then other people will say, and they'll make sounds. Hopefully, the edit doesn't cut out that little, et cetera, et cetera. Religion, religion, religion. But ultimately, I want to look at Christ for a moment, because what he was a breaker of societal structure. You have the story of him at the well with the Samaritan woman, right? Jews don't speak to Samaritans. Men don't, especially Jewish men, don't speak to Samaritan women. And she's asking him practically about the water, and he's just addressing her from a level which is just, he's speaking from the spirit. She's speaking of earthly things. But he, like, still communicates with her. Why? Because who is he? He's not judgmental. He's not, like, bound by these societal things. Another story, it's like when he's talking to the Pharisees and they think he's talking about the actual temple who'll rebuild it in 3 days. And he's speaking of he will rebuild the body, like his temple in 3 days. And that goes in one ear, out the other ear. They totally just don't get it. He's speaking from the spirit, and they live in the earthly, the human, self centered, selfish lower. And it's not, do you hear me, right? If you have ears to hear, then you will hear and you will catch on. Now, logically and practically, right? And I'm just done like earthly explaining everything. So that doesn't, again, it's like you, you are not, or let me pause. I am not what you think I am. You are what you think I am. You may have to repeat that or play it back. I know. I know. But that's what we're saying. That's what we're getting at. The integration is this balance of, hey, this is this. And I don't care if you agree with me, but this is the truth. And I'm not the holder or the possessor of the truth. It is that which right? And all humans have the capacity to create the space for that which is unnameable, or Christ, or what you call it, to work through you. But there has to be a full surrender and devotion to that which is. And you do this, right? Read the Bible, do what the Bible says, really. Pay attention in your own life when you sin. How do you feel? How do you make other people feel when you do act a certain way, right? Let me get some water. Needed that water. But ultimately, like, look at the Bible again, it's the holy water. It's not this material water, it's the spirit water. And that again is a within, it's a internal thing. Yes, honor your vessel. Take good care of your vessel. Train, sunlight, movement, good nutrition, whole foods, read. Don't numb yourself. Don't alcohol yourself to death. Don't work yourself to death. I know all these things may be necessary, like, bills and responsibility, but find a way, okay? Like, you are the one who has the power over your life, but you need to make the choice to live your life the right way. And it's like, what more can I say? If you get it, then you're doing it and you're doing your best. And then you listen to things like this and you do your best and right? Like, it really isn't complicated. Now, I could get more practical, right? I could talk about observing thought, but self inquiry isn't one path or the only path. There's not only one path, right? So it's a balanced life, family, love, care, play, skills, learning skill sets, maybe a little bit of martial arts or just movement, sports, weightlifting, friendship, community, treat others as you want to be treated, meditate, focus on your breath, stretch the body, do yoga. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, okay, if you're closed to certain things, you're closed to certain things, and that's a you, okay, that's for you. It's for you to deal with. And if you're open, then hey, let's rock and roll. Like, ultimately, what I'm saying to you right now is that you're powerful, and I care about you so much. That's why I take the time and energy to do all of this, but really, you're special, but don't let it get to your head, all right? You are special, but the moment that you really think you're better than someone else, you're not special anymore, okay? You're special when you are living in alignment, and that means to serve. That means to work with your gifts. That means that you're really living your highest life, the best timeline you possibly can. And hey, if there was a step by step plan to do that, then it wouldn't be fun, anyways, right? If someone handed you everything you ever dreamed of right now, you would like it immediately, but it wouldn't feel the same as actually earning, right? And again, this isn't something you earn. So yes, I am continuously contradicting myself. If you have ears to hear, then you will hear. Okay, read between the lines of the words. The words are not the thing itself. The map is not the territory. The sky is behind the clouds. Argue your thoughts. Okay, I care so much about you. Genuinely, you're beautiful. Truly are. You're beautiful. I love you. Share this with a friend if it resonated with you. Practically, announcements time. Leave if you want to leave. Announcements, I'll keep them short. Basically, decade plus fitness, not mastery, but I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder, more so a lifting athlete who's fast, yet dynamic, yet strong, yet conditioned, yet unboxable. So if you resonate with that, then I put everything I know, everything I've ever learned from 10,000 plus hours of fitness and movement and weightlifting into a few separate packages: book, video course, the exercises, and nutrition. Check that out. It'll be in the description. And if you want to work one to one, emotions, boundaries, relationships, health, I won't even say wealth. It's more so health, relationships, your interpersonal world, your emotions, and even your physique. I have a few spots open for one to one coaching. I promise you, in the near future, we're going to get to a point where there's a wait list. And so I'm not like urgently saying, oh, go buy it, hey, let's work now. Hey, if you're ready, just schedule and we can talk. Okay, I'm not going to say I can work with you until speaking, right? I need to hear you out, understand where you're at. But again, I honestly, I am in this world, not of it. I have 24 hours in a day, only so much time. So if you would like to speak and conversate and work and really allow for internal and external change, well, then, that'll also be in the description. Announcements are finished. Have an amazing day. New episodes are out. I think I already said this Monday, Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Ciao.